this last video for lesson 1, we are going to take what we talked about in videos 1 and 2 and combine it with what we just did in video 3, which is we're going to look at some function notation and how order of operations comes into play there. So an expression containing variables, numbers, and operation symbols is called an algebraic expression. Don't forget, whenever we have closed notes like this, you need to pause the video and get that written in your notes. Also, remember that if you have any questions, that's what this margin over here is for. All right, so back to the notes. 5x plus 3y plus 8 is an example of an algebraic expression because it's got variables in there, your x and your y. It's got some numbers, my 5, my 3, my 8, and the operation symbols. That's talking about my pluses and minuses and those little understood multiplication points that are happening between the 5 and the x and between the 3 and the y. So this is an algebraic expression. Expressions don't have equal signs, which means we can't solve an expression. All we can do is evaluate it if we're given a certain value. So algebraic expressions can be evaluated if I tell you what I want you to use for the variables. To evaluate for a given value, we just substitute in the given number for the matching variable. So if we are using function notation like we did in lesson 1, this is going to be just a matter of substitution for that x value. So for this one, we have f of x equals 3x squared plus 1, and we want to know f of 4. So there is an equal sign here, which kind of goes against what we showed up above. But there's no way to solve it because I've got two different variables happening. I've got the x and then this f of x, which you know serves as your y. So the only thing I can do is evaluate it for a given value of x. So just like in video 1, I'm going to plug in this 4 everywhere I see an x. So in this case, right here in my notation and here in the actual problem. And then when I'm solving this and I've got multiple steps happening, remember that this f of 4, that is not f times 4. That is just saying I'm looking for the value of this when x is 4. So that's going to remain constant over here. It's going to keep saying f of 4 through the whole problem. You're not going to do anything with it. Over here, I'm going to go through and use my gems. It looks like I have a grouping symbol because I've got this parentheses here, but there's nothing happening inside the parentheses, so I can call my gems done, or the G done. E is for exponents, so I've got to take care of this 4 squared before I multiply by 3. This is one of the most common mistakes when it comes to order of operations. You just want to multiply that 3 and 4 first, and that's going to mess you up every time. You got to take care of the exponents first. So 4 squared, that means 4 times 4, that's 16. So I get 3 times 16 plus 1. Okay, and then again, my f of 4 is going to stay constant. 3 times 16, I can mark off my exponents because that's done, and now I'm ready to do any multiplication and division. I've got 3 times 16, which is 48. My plus 1 is still there. I can't do anything with it yet. Now I'm done with my multiplication and division. The only thing left is addition and subtraction, so f of 4 equals 49. That means when I have an x value of 4, my output, or my y value, is 49. So I can mark that off, and there's my answer. Also remember, if you wanted to write this as an ordered pair, it would be 449 as an ordered pair. All right, so my next example, this time it is an expression, a true expression with no equal signs. So that means I've got multiple things that I can plug in here. The problem is m times p minus 7 squared minus 10 divided by 2, and I'm given a value to use for my m, and I'm given a value to use for my p. So all I'm going to do is make substitutions. In place of this m, I'm going to put a 5 right there, and then I'm going to write everything else exactly the same. In place of this p, I'm going to put a -2, and then minus 7 squared minus 10 divided by 2. All I did was replace my p with -2, and I replaced my m with 5. So you can see where those substitutions happened right here. Everything else is exactly the same, and now I'm ready to use my order of operations again. So again, let's get the skinnier pen here. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's easier to read when I use the skinnier pen. Okay, so I'm going to go through, and I'm supposed to do my grouping symbols first. Well, I have a set of parentheses here, but there's a lot happening inside of those parentheses. When that happens, what you need to do is work inside of the parentheses first, but follow your order of operations in there as well. So inside of this parentheses, I've got to check for grouping symbols. I've got to check for exponents and then move on to multiplication and division. So I'm going to deal then with this exponent first, because inside of these parentheses, I have an exponent, and that needs to be done before subtraction, before division. So I'm going to have 5. The -2 is still there. This is minus 7 squared. Well, 7 squared is 49 minus 10 divided by 2. Okay, and then I'm ready to divide, because as I look through, again, I'm only looking for inside of these parentheses, and as I look through there, I've got a bunch of subtraction and then a division. I know I need to deal with multiplication and division before I do the subtraction, because remember, that's multiplication and division. So still working inside of the parentheses, I'm going to say 5 and then -2 minus 49, and then what I'm working on here is this -10 divided by 2, which is -5. Right? Now I'm finally ready to do that subtraction, because all my exponents have been taken care of, all my division's been taken care of, and now I'm ready to deal with any addition or subtraction. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to say -2 minus 49 is -51 minus 5. So then my next row is going to be -51 minus 5 is -56. Now finally, I can say that my grouping symbols are done. There are no exponents left, because the only exponents were inside of that grouping symbol. There is multiplication division, because what's left in this problem is this 5 times -56, because remember, if there's not a symbol telling you what to do, that's multiplication. No shame in taking the calculator out at this point and typing in 5 times -56, and I get -280. So my final answer is -280. All right, it is time for you to try a couple of problems. Once you finish these problems, hopefully yours won't be as difficult as mine were, but once you finish them, check your answers, and then you are ready to start working on your practice. You've now completed all the lessons or all the videos within this lesson. There's a practice section that has a mixture of all the different kinds of problems. The key is available in the classroom, so you can check your answers. Ask questions when you don't understand. The practice is not something you have to do by yourself. You can ask your friends that are sitting around you. You can ask your enemies that are sitting around you. You can ask your teachers. You can ask whoever you need to make sure you understand what's happening. Once you feel like you've really got it and you've completed the practice and you don't have any more questions, then you're ready to try a quiz and see if you really know it like you think you do. The mastery check is going to be no notes, and no friends for that. So make sure that when you're asking your friends for help, you're really understanding what they're saying to you. All right, good luck. Let us know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.